what can we do to improve it?
It does still suck, and I think most of you would agree with that. Buying an American Airlines ticket on Orbitz is going to suck pretty soon, too.
So, I think we had this as an audience question earlier. Yesterday, during the Travel Innovation Summit, we heard from Hipmunk that had some interesting air search technology, interesting interface. What's your take?
I missed the presentation, but I certainly heard that the presentation was good. I find their bravado refreshing. You know, I find their product unremarkable. But you know, and the internet is a busy highway. You know, I hope they don't end up as roadkill.
So, how big of a threat do you see in general coming from the startup realm right now?
I don't think the threats from startups. I think the real threats from established players who are waking up to the innovation that's occurred in the last 4 or 5 years, and who are very eager to catch up, if not surpass.
So let's talk about private sales. Earlier this year, you launched private sales for hotels, and then it disappeared. Why'd you pull it, and what are your plans?
We pulled it because we were getting our asses kicked. So look, we don't do a lot of things very well, and private sale is one of those areas where there was a lot of hype in the category. So we said, hey, let's try it out. We put it on the website. We got some real consumer engagement, and then we started seeing the traction that one of our former Kayak employees was getting with Jet Center, and we looked at what Rula La was doing, and Groupon and others, and just said, hey, we're not going to be able to compete against these guys in this space. So we pulled it down. So the Kayak private sale is very, very private now.
So can you comment on your future plans, if you have any plans of getting back into that space?
We're not slow learners, so we learned our lesson that private sale is not something that we're good at. So I don't see us going back in that space. Unless, of course, Google kicks our ass in travel search and we have to do something different.
So we have a question on the speak out board. Does Kayak Connect cross the line to transition Kayak from metasearch to OTA?
As currently configured, it doesn't, because it's a booking assistant. So we're actually not the merchant of record. People don't look to Kayak to provide the customer service. We're actually just facilitating and taking an order, submitting it to the OTA, the travel supplier, confirming it, and then posting it to the consumer. We are contemplating getting more aggressively into that path, but that's probably a topic for another day.
So, you know, we talked about private sales. That was one way to draw attention to your hotel products. What have been your successes and challenges in growing hotel searches? And, you know, certainly you're still known primarily as a flight search engine. What can you tell me about hotels?
Well, hotels is just a lot harder a market to crack than flights. So I think our product's come a long way since we launched it, and consumers are now stumbling across our hotel search capability, and they're liking what they see. So we're getting good traction there, but I don't know. It's a lot harder than it looks. Just ask the folks at Orbitz who've been trying to crack the hotel market for a long time. So look, we're pretty bullish on our prospects, but it's going to take a lot more work.
So where do you see growth happening in terms of product? You've got cars, cruise, deals, vacations. What are your growth prospects?
For us, our growth strategy is pretty clear, which is grow brand awareness here in the U.S. So we've got an immense investment in brand marketing to get people aware of our current products and services. The second is to shift the mix to be more hotel. The third is to go international. The fourth is mobile. So if we can get all 4 of those things done, I'll feel pretty good as a CEO.
And, you know, for the last few years, our research has shown that metasearch has kind of reached a ceiling in terms of attracting new users. How do you accomplish that? How do you attract new people to metasearch that aren't currently using it, as opposed to expanding their usage to other product lines?
Assuming I agree with your flawed research, which I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, so you think, okay, well, strike that part if you don't agree. How do you attract new users to metasearch who've previously not used it before?
Well, you've got to make people aware that you exist, and part of that, unfortunately, is expensive marketing. So, you know, we've started our offline marketing last October, and we put a pretty good spend against it, and we're seeing the results in our financials.
So offline marketing is.
What's the?
It's time for Express Check-In. Who was your childhood hero?
My dad.
What's your favorite publication?
The Economist.
Name one thing you've never done before that you'd like to try.
Oh, no, I can't talk about that one.
We'll segue right into this one. What's your favorite guilty pleasure?
Wow, those two questions are pretty related. No answer. I'll pass on that one.
What's your least favorite buzz term?
Chaos.
Describe a hypothetical technology you wish were real.
Time travel.
If you weren't in the travel industry, what would you be doing?
I was going to give you an answer there, but I bit my tongue on that. I don't know. Investment banking.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about geographic growth. You recently acquired Swudu and have chosen to run Swudu and Kayak as separate entities. What was behind that decision?
So who's familiar with Swudu? Probably no one, right?
No one?
A few people. It's a leading travel search site in Germany, and what we observed with Swudu is we had a website in Germany that we were putting a decent amount of SEM spend behind, and Swudu was like 6 guys and a dog, and they were kicking our asses. So we said let's talk to them, let's bring them over to the Kayak side of the table, and now they're actually responsible for Kayak's European strategy. Swudu as a brand will be a bit like Sidestep is to Kayak, which is a sister brand with a little bit of traction. But the main impetus behind what we're trying to do in Europe is promote Kayak as a universal brand.
What about further geographic expansion? Are you looking at Asia? What are sort of your...
We are looking at Asia. I think after watching what Make My Trip did and C-Trip as evaluation, I wish if we had to do one thing differently, we would have launched in Asia a lot sooner than we did, a lot earlier than we did. But I think the online travel market there is nascent. It's got great growth. Meta search will play a role there. Are we too late to the market? Maybe, in which case we'll have to buy our way in through acquisition.
So Kayak has a history of seeing innovative tools in the marketplace, anything anybody comes up with that people are excited about, and you build it yourselves in-house. What have you seen lately that's piqued your interest and made you think maybe we should build that?
God, this graphical display of laying out flights in terms of time windows, it's really... we saw it 12 years ago when ITA launched it, but right now it appears to have some merit. So that might be something you see on Kayak pretty soon. I don't think anyone will use it, but we'll have it. I'm being facetious. No, look, I think the innovation that we're very focused on right now is the mobile path, and making sure that the Kayak experience on whatever platform you have in your hand is as best as it can be. And then if you haven't, for those of you who haven't tried Kayak on your iPad, the hotel search capability on that is amazing. It's much better than PC.
So you talk about social media maybe getting a little bit too much hype. What's having an important impact on the travel space that's not getting enough hype?
I don't know. I don't have a good answer to that question.
All right. So, just briefly, well, it looks like it's time to wrap up. Ladies and
no
gentlemen,
audience questions? Okay.
Well, I slipped one in. Ladies and gentlemen, Kayak's co-founder and CEO, Mr. Steve Hafner. Thank you very much.